Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Words shape your reality. What you say, what you believe, and what you act on define the kind of person you are. Now, there are winners in life and there are losers. And losers, they don't lose because of fate. They lose because of their mindset. Your mindset is the foundation of everything you do in life. It shapes your beliefs, actions, and ultimately your results. The way you think determines how you react to challenges, how you handle failures, and how you pursue success. When people adopt a loser's mindset, they unknowingly limit their own potential. They speak words of doubt, fear, and hesitation, reinforcing negative patterns that prevent them from reaching their goals. A person who constantly tells themselves, "I can't do it," has already decided their fate before even making an attempt. The truth is, our words hold immense power. The thoughts we entertain and the phrases we repeat to ourselves become the blueprint for our actions. If someone repeatedly tells themselves they are not good enough, they will never step up to prove otherwise. On the other hand, those who adopt a winner's mindset approach life with a different perspective. They don't focus on what they can't do, they focus on what they can do. They understand that failure is just a stepping stone, not a dead end. Losers see problems while winners see possibilities. This difference in mindset determines who rises and who remains stagnant. A person with a negative mindset will see a challenge and immediately assume it is impossible to overcome. They convince themselves that they lack the skills, intelligence, or luck to succeed. Instead of looking for solutions, they dwell on obstacles. They allow fear to paralyze them, choosing to remain in their comfort zone rather than take risks. But winners think differently. They approach every challenge as an opportunity to grow. Instead of saying, "I can't," they ask themselves, "How can I?" This small shift in mindset makes all the difference. Winners don't allow fear or doubt to dictate their actions. They embrace discomfort because they know that real growth happens outside of their comfort zone. Consider two people faced with the same opportunity. One says, "I don't think I can do this. I've never done it before, so I'll probably fail." The other says, "I've never done this before, so this is my chance to learn." The first person has already convinced themselves that failure is inevitable, while the second person sees the situation as a chance to develop new skills. The outcome of their efforts will reflect their beliefs. The first person will likely hesitate, make excuses, and eventually give up. The second person, however, will push forward, learn from mistakes, and improve over time. This is the power of mindset. It is not intelligence, talent, or luck that separates winners from losers. It is their way of thinking. Losers allow their doubts to control them. They internalize the negative voices that say they are not good enough, not smart enough, or not capable enough. These voices may come from past failures, criticism from others, or even society's expectations. But winners refuse to let these doubts define them. They understand that self-belief is a choice. No one is born with unshakable confidence. It is built through action. Every time a person chooses to push past fear, their confidence grows. Every time they take a step toward their goal, they reinforce the belief that success is possible. Winners are not people who never experience fear or doubt. They are people who refuse to be controlled by it. The difference between a loser and a winner is not intelligence or background, it is the willingness to try. Too many people never reach their full potential because they convince themselves that success is out of their reach. They say things like, "I'm not lucky like other people," or "I wasn't born with talent." This type of thinking is self-destructive. It keeps people stuck in mediocrity, never daring to chase their dreams. Winners, however, understand that success is not about luck or natural ability. It is about effort, discipline, and persistence. They know that every skill can be learned, every weakness can be improved, and every failure is just a lesson in disguise. A person's words reflect their mindset, and their mindset dictates their future. When someone constantly speaks negativity into their life, they create an environment where success is impossible. The mind believes what it hears repeatedly. If a person tells themselves they are a failure, they will act like one. If they tell themselves they are not capable, they will never push themselves to achieve more. But when a person changes their language, they change their reality. Winners speak in terms of growth and possibility. They replace phrases like "I can't" with "I will figure it out." They understand that words have power, and they choose to speak life into their dreams. The human brain is wired to look for evidence that supports what we already believe. If someone believes they are not good enough, their brain will focus on every mistake they make, reinforcing that belief. If they believe they are capable, their brain will highlight their progress and strengths. This is why mindset is so crucial. What you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, you will see more problems. If you focus on opportunities, you will see more opportunities. Winners train their minds to focus on solutions, on possibilities, and on growth. Think about the most successful people in the world. Do you think they never failed? Do you think they never doubted themselves? Of course they did, but they didn't let those doubts stop them. They kept going even when things were hard. They spoke words of encouragement to themselves even when no one else believed in them. They understood that success starts in the mind. Before you can achieve anything in life, you have to believe that you are capable of achieving it. This belief is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. A loser's mindset keeps people trapped in fear and doubt. It convinces them that they are powerless, that their circumstances define them, and that success is for other people, not for them. But a winner's mindset is different. It sees challenges as opportunities, failures as lessons, and obstacles as temporary. A winner knows that their thoughts shape their reality, so they choose to think thoughts that empower them. Excuses are the silent killers of success. They disguise themselves as logical reasons, convincing people that they are justified in not taking action. People who consistently make excuses believe they are avoiding failure, but in reality, they are ensuring it. The words we speak shape our reality, and when we tell ourselves that we don't have time, it's not our fault, or we're just unlucky, we reinforce a mindset of helplessness. Success does not come from avoiding responsibility or waiting for the perfect conditions. It comes from taking control of what we can and pushing forward despite obstacles. Those who make excuses often fail to see that their greatest limitation is not their circumstances, but their own thinking. They convince themselves that external factors determine their fate, but in truth, it is their mindset and choices that shape their future. When people say they don't have time, what they are really saying is that something else is more important. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, and yet some people build businesses, develop skills, and achieve their goals, while others complain that they are too busy. The difference is not in the number of hours available, but in how those hours are used. Time management is about priorities, not about the clock. People who truly want to succeed will find a way to make time, even if it means waking up earlier, reducing distractions, or sacrificing temporary comforts. The harsh truth is that people don't lack time, they lack commitment. A person who says they don't have time to exercise but spends hours on social media is not being honest with themselves. A person who claims they are too busy to learn a new skill but watches television every night is simply avoiding effort. Winners recognize this. They take an honest look at how they spend their time and make adjustments. They replace wasted time with purposeful action, because they know that success is built in the hours that others waste. Another common excuse that losers make is blaming their failures on circumstances or other people. They say things like, "It's not my fault," when they face setbacks. They blame their upbringing, their boss, the economy, or even fate. But while circumstances may be unfair at times, dwelling on them never leads to progress. Winners understand that blaming others gives away their power. The moment a person blames someone else for their failures, they stop looking for solutions. They become passive, waiting for the world to change instead of changing themselves. True success comes from taking responsibility no matter the situation. Even if something isn't entirely a person's fault, they still have the power to respond to it in a way that moves them forward. Taking responsibility does not mean ignoring obstacles or pretending challenges don't exist. It means accepting that, regardless of what happens, the only thing a person can truly control is their own response. This mindset shift is what separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. Excuses create a false sense of comfort. They allow people to justify their inaction, making them feel as though they are not to blame for their lack of progress. But this comfort is an illusion, and it comes at a great cost. Every excuse a person makes delays their success. Every time they say, "I'll do it later," they push their goals further away. Procrastination is one of the most dangerous forms of self-sabotage because it feels harmless in the moment. People tell themselves they will start tomorrow, but tomorrow turns into next week, next month, or next year. Winners refuse to fall into this trap. They know that action, even imperfect action, is better than waiting for the perfect time. They don't wait for motivation, they create it by taking the first step. Fear is often at the root of excuses. People avoid challenges not because they are truly incapable, but because they are afraid of failing. Instead of admitting this fear, they disguise it with excuses like, "I don't have the right connections," or "I don't have the resources." But winners understand that fear is a part of growth. They push forward even when they are scared because they know that everything they want lies on the other side of fear. They take risks, try new things, and accept that failure is a necessary step on the road to success. Excuses may provide temporary relief, but they also guarantee long-term regret. The people who achieve their dreams are not the ones who had perfect conditions. They are the ones who took action despite imperfect conditions. One of the most destructive excuses is believing that luck determines success. Many people convince themselves that successful individuals were just lucky. They were born into the right family, met the right people, or stumbled into opportunities. But luck is not what separates winners from losers. Hard work, persistence, and discipline do. Winners don't wait for opportunities, they create them. They don't rely on luck, they rely on consistent effort. While others are waiting for the perfect opportunity, winners are working, learning, and improving. And when an opportunity does come, they are prepared to seize it. Those who believe in luck as the key to success often miss out on their own potential because they fail to take action. At its core, making excuses is a habit. People who constantly make excuses are training their minds to find reasons to avoid effort. Over time, this habit becomes deeply ingrained, making it harder to break free. But just as excuses are learned, responsibility can also be learned. It starts with changing small behaviors, eliminating phrases like, "I don't have time," and replacing them with, "I will make time." It requires catching oneself in the act of making an excuse and challenging that thought. Winners train themselves to think differently. When they face a challenge, they don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They ask, "What can I do about it?" This simple shift in perspective changes everything. Every successful person has faced difficulties, setbacks, and failures. What sets them apart is not the absence of obstacles, but their refusal to make excuses. They take action even when it is difficult. They take responsibility even when it is unfair. They manage their time even when they have competing priorities. They overcome fear even when it feels overwhelming. Success is not a mystery. It is a result of choices. People who make excuses choose failure, whether they realize it or not. People who take responsibility choose success, even if the path is difficult. The truth is, everyone has the power to change their life, but change requires action, and action requires eliminating excuses. The moment a person stops making excuses is the moment they start moving toward their goals. The choice is always there. Live a life of excuses or live a life of progress. Winners make progress. Losers make excuses. The difference is simple, but the results are life-changing. Fear is one of the most powerful forces that hold people back from achieving their full potential. It operates quietly, often disguised as logic or self-protection, convincing people to stay in their comfort zones. Many people do not even realize that fear is controlling their decisions because it appears in subtle ways. It manifests as self-doubt, hesitation, or the need for approval from others. One of the most common ways fear holds people back is through the question, what will people think? This simple thought has stopped countless dreams from becoming a reality. People allow the opinions of others to dictate their actions, their goals, and even their beliefs about themselves. Instead of pursuing what they truly want, they focus on avoiding judgment, criticism, or rejection. But winners know that success is impossible if they live for the approval of others. They understand that no matter what they do, people will always have opinions, and most of those opinions are irrelevant to their personal journey. The fear of judgment often begins in childhood. People are taught to seek approval from parents, teachers, and peers. They are conditioned to believe that fitting in is more important than standing out. Over time, this fear of disapproval grows stronger, making it difficult for individuals to take risks or follow their own path. Many people suppress their true ambitions because they are afraid of what others might say. They hesitate to start a new business, switch careers, or share their ideas because they fear criticism. But winners recognize that living for approval is a trap. They do not waste energy worrying about whether people will agree with their choices. Instead, they focus on what matters: progress, growth, and self-improvement. They know that no one else is responsible for their success or failure except themselves. One of the greatest ironies of life is that the people who fear judgment the most are often judged the harshest. Not because they are doing something wrong, but because fear makes them appear weak and uncertain. When a person lacks confidence, others pick up on it. They become an easy target for criticism and negativity. On the other hand, those who are unapologetic about their goals command respect. Even if people disagree with them, they are seen as strong, determined, and in control. Winners understand this, which is why they move with confidence even when they are uncertain. They do not need approval to take action because they trust themselves. They know that their success is based on their own efforts, not on whether people support them. Fear of judgment is a self-imposed prison. It forces people to stay within the limits set by society, their family, or their peers. It convinces them that stepping outside of these limits will result in rejection or ridicule. But the truth is, most people are too focused on their own lives to care about what others are doing. The fear of being judged is often exaggerated in the mind. Even when people do criticize or doubt someone, their words hold no real power unless they are believed. Winners refuse to give that power away. They remind themselves that people's opinions do not pay their bills. do not build their dreams, and do not determine their worth. A major reason people seek approval is the need for validation. They want reassurance that they are making the right choices. But the problem with seeking validation is that it makes a person dependent on others for confidence. When people rely on external approval, they become easily discouraged by criticism or lack of support. Winners, however, build their confidence from within. They validate themselves by focusing on their progress, their effort, and their results. They do not wait for others to tell them they are good enough. They decide that for themselves. Another reason people fear judgment is because they do not want to fail publicly. They worry that if they try something new and fail, others will mock them. This fear prevents many people from even attempting to achieve their goals. But winners know that failure is a part of success. They understand that every successful person has faced setbacks and criticism. The difference is that winners do not let those setbacks define them. They see failure as feedback, a lesson that helps them improve. Instead of being ashamed of their failures, they use them as motivation to keep going. One of the most freeing realizations in life is that no matter what a person does, they will be judged. If they succeed, people will criticize them. If they fail, people will criticize them. If they do nothing, people will still judge them. Since judgment is unavoidable, winners decide to pursue their goals anyway. They understand that their time on this earth is limited, and they refuse to waste it worrying about opinions that do not matter. They focus on their own vision and let go of the need to be liked by everyone. Fear of judgment is especially dangerous because it leads to regret. Many people reach the later years of their life and realize that they lived according to other people's expectations instead of their own desires. They look back and wish they had taken more risks, spoken their minds, or pursued their dreams. Winners avoid this regret by making bold choices now. They remind themselves daily that their life is their own, and they refuse to let fear dictate their actions. Overcoming fear of judgment requires a mindset shift. It starts with recognizing that people's opinions are often based on their own insecurities, not on reality. Many people criticize others because they are unhappy with their own lives. Winners understand this and do not take criticism personally. They focus on their goals and keep moving forward regardless of what others say. Taking action is the best way to silence fear. The more a person steps outside their comfort zone, the less intimidating it becomes. Winners push themselves to take small risks every day, building their courage over time. They practice making decisions based on their own values, not on what others expect. As they do this, they develop a stronger sense of self and a greater ability to ignore negativity. Fear of judgment is just another excuse, an excuse that keeps people stuck in mediocrity. Winners refuse to be controlled by it. They remind themselves that their dreams, their goals, and their success matter more than the opinions of people who contribute nothing to their lives. They take control of their own narrative, deciding who they want to be and what they want to achieve. They accept that criticism is a part of the journey, but refuse to let it stop them. Quitting is the easiest option when things get tough, and for many people it becomes a habit. The moment they face challenges, setbacks, or difficulties, they convince themselves that giving up is the only choice. But the truth is, quitting is the ultimate failure. No one who has ever achieved great success did so without facing obstacles. Every successful person has encountered hardships, moments of doubt, and failures. What separates winners from losers is not intelligence, luck, or talent. It is perseverance. Winners understand that setbacks are temporary, but quitting is permanent. They refuse to give up, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. They know that success is not about being the best immediately. It is about showing up consistently, improving over time, and pushing forward when everything seems to be against them. Losers convince themselves that quitting is justified. They tell themselves, it's not working, or I'm just not meant for this. They look for reasons to walk away instead of searching for solutions. But the harsh reality is that most people quit right before they are about to succeed. They underestimate how long it takes to achieve greatness. They assume that success should come quickly, and when it doesn't, they become discouraged. Winners, on the other hand, understand that patience and persistence are key. They know that growth takes time and that every struggle is a stepping stone toward their goals. Instead of quitting when things get hard, they adjust their approach, learn from their mistakes, and keep going. They refuse to let temporary failures define their long-term potential. One of the biggest reasons people quit is because they focus too much on how far they still have to go instead of how far they have already come. They become overwhelmed by the challenges ahead and fail to recognize their progress. Winners take a different approach. They celebrate small victories along the way, knowing that every step forward is proof that they are getting closer to their goal. They do not let the weight of the journey discourage them because they understand that consistency, not speed, is what leads to success. They know that as long as they keep moving forward, even at a slow pace, they are still making progress. Another reason people quit is because they compare themselves to others. They see someone else succeeding and assume that they must not be good enough. They believe that if they were truly talented, things would be easier. This mindset is dangerous because it ignores the struggles that every successful person has faced. No one starts at the top. Every expert was once a beginner. Every champion lost before they won. Winners understand this, which is why they focus on their own journey instead of comparing themselves to others. They remind themselves that success is personal and that their only competition is the person they were yesterday. They know that the path to greatness is different for everyone, and as long as they stay committed, their time will come. Fear of failure is another major reason people quit. They worry that if they keep trying and still don't succeed, they will look foolish. They fear wasting time and effort on something that might not work. But winners see failure differently. They do not see it as something to be avoided. They see it as something to learn from. They know that every failure is a lesson, every mistake is a teacher, and every setback is a test of resilience. Instead of letting failure break them, they use it to build themselves up. They analyze what went wrong, make adjustments, and try again with more knowledge and experience. They refuse to let fear dictate their decisions because they understand that the biggest failure is not trying at all. People who quit often blame external factors. They say that the economy is bad, that they don't have enough support, or that life is unfair. They convince themselves that circumstances are stopping them from succeeding. But winners take full responsibility for their lives. They do not waste time complaining about things they cannot control. Instead, they focus on what they can control: their effort, their attitude, and their persistence. They know that life will never be perfect, but they refuse to let obstacles become excuses. They adapt, find new ways to move forward, and turn challenges into opportunities. Quitting often happens because people expect immediate results. They start a new habit, business, or goal, and when they don't see instant success, they assume it's not working. This is a major mistake. Success is not about quick wins. It is about long-term commitment. Winners understand that the biggest rewards come from consistent effort over time. They do not expect overnight success because they know that anything truly valuable requires patience and dedication. They trust the process, even when they cannot yet see the results. They remind themselves that every great achievement is built through daily effort, even when progress feels invisible. When a person quits, they often regret it later. They wonder what could have happened if they had just pushed a little further. They see others who kept going and succeeded, and they realize that they gave up too soon. Winners avoid this regret by committing to their goals no matter what. They remind themselves that every struggle is temporary, but that quitting is permanent. They push through the hard times because they know that persistence is what separates those who succeed from those who fail. Every success story is a story of perseverance. The greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders all faced moments when they could have quit, but they didn't. They kept going, even when things seemed hopeless. They pushed forward, even when the odds were against them. They refused to let setbacks define their future. This is why they succeeded. Winners know that the only way to fail is to stop trying. As long as they keep moving forward, they are still in the game. The difference between success and failure is simple. Those who succeed keep going, and those who fail stop. Winners choose to keep going. They remind themselves that every champion, every leader, and every successful person faced moments of doubt, but chose to persevere. They refuse to let fear, setbacks, or difficulties stop them. They know that the road to success is long and challenging, but they embrace the journey. They refuse to be quitters because they understand that winners never quit and quitters never win.